love you guys. You guys know the drill that are here right now. We're just gonna do some sound healing. And hello to all the people that are listening to the recording. We're gonna have a great show today, so I'm excited to be hanging out here once again. Settle into the field, and we'll be getting started in just a little while. Hello, 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 beautiful star seeds all over planet Earth. In such joy and wonder and love to be here with all of you once again. Hey Layla. Layla says that my microphone is like a spaceship, and I'm not sure if she's referring to the fact that it really is. And in fact, I'm actually going to go into this a little bit today, so thank you so much for reflecting that. The galactics really do create a field through these sound vibrations. And so, yeah, welcome to the space again. We're super stoked for today's conversation. We're going to be busting 5 common new age myths, and these are myths that you guys recommended through this little Instagram poll that I created earlier in this week. For those of you that are not following me on Instagram, I've been making a new plan. I have a new schedule. I'm showing up on Instagram like every day. I've just decided that I'm going to show up for my community. So if you want to get your daily dose of Starseed mission support, definitely just go on Instagram. I'm posting really cute little mini trainings and little things like that. So I'm posting my handle in the chat box there, and it's also in the comment section. It's just a good vibe in there. So come hang out with us. Let's see here. I'm pulling up my notes. I like to have a little bit of notes, otherwise I start rambling and I get lost. Okay, so welcome to the field. I'm so excited. Today we're going to be busting these 5 new age myths. Before we get into that, I just wanted to break down a little more of what this event that I'm organizing next month is all about, because so far I've been making some mysterious posts with people like, but what is it? What is the Pleiades Gateway? So the Pleiades Gateway is basically when the Earth, the Sun, and the Pleiades star system is in heliocentric alignment. And we're actually in between the Andromedan alignment, which was late last week, and the Universal Center alignment, which is early next week. So this week, you might have experienced, crazy upgrades or energies. It was like that, those alignments compounded with the full moon. It was just really intense. And so basically what happens during these alignments is that because light travels, in a direction, when light can travel directly to a space, so when the stars of the Pleiades and the heart of the Pleiades are radiating these photons, and they can reach directly to the sun, which is communicating with the earth, this is a good time for us to actually phone home, as I like to say. So the last few days, I've been having a great time communicating with my Andromedan family. And all the sessions that I've had this week have been just extraordinary, because during these gateway openings, it's almost like we can have an easier access into those dimensionalities of ourself. So we're really we're given this opportunity to communicate with our star family in this amplified kind of way. And so I personally have had a lot of intense synchronous experiences with the Pleiades Gateway that I'm going to go into in a video next week or the week after that. But today, I'm just going to kind of briefly explain what this ceremonial experience is like. So my event, the Pleiades Gateway, is a ceremonial contact experience. And I'm not sure if you guys have heard anything like that before, but in fact, Native Americans and Aboriginal people have been sacredly contacting ETs in ceremony for a really long time. In fact, they actually have specific rooms in their complexes that are built specifically for that reason. So the reason why, this practice is kind of watered down these days is largely in part due to some new age infiltration that we're going to talk about in the later parts of this conversation. Because when you hold a very sacred ceremonial space, it's very hard for low level ETs to actually get into the space and create interference. And of course, low level ETs and frequency interference is what the mind control is all about. And so we'll talk more about that in our video later today. But basically then, what we're doing in the Pleiades Gateway is that we're going to create a container for these 3 days when the Earth, the Sun, and the Pleiades are in direct alignment, which is a great time for us to, first of all, receive these activations. But when we create a field, like a vessel, to catch these star energies together, it just really amplifies and makes these events more effective. So for 3 days, the galactics have channeled through these classes that are focused on starseed activation and the healing of particular implants and distortions. There is going to be one ceremony where we're actually clearing the J seals, which are these artificial implants that are in the earth and in the human body that makes it very hard for us to access higher dimensional energy. And so for all 3 days, we're basically in contact with our higher self and these master beings, which are the only beings that I work with. I know that you can channel pretty much anything, but I have high standards, which is why people have such a great time at this event. We had over 400 people at this event in May, and people had real contact experiences. People experienced and felt their star family and their higher selves being there. And this is a great opportunity then for you to have a physical experience of contact with interdimensional master beings that truly work in alliance with the cosmic laws of divine love, which is the field that we hold. And so this is a 3-day ceremonial contact experience inside of this living field that's literally created with these songs. And so it was funny that earlier somebody made a comment that my microphone is like a starship. And so that's literally accurate. This microphone will channel the fields of energy that creates a light ship around us, in which we are together in the mothership and engaging in these high vibrational teachings and alignments. And I can't really describe it, more succinctly than that. If you want to experience this, the link is in the description, and I think Elizabeth has posted the link in the chat box as well. So let's get into it then. The 5 New Age myths. The first one that we're going to be busting today is that the New Age is demonic. Now, I think that when I think about myth, it's kind of like a legend. It's not necessarily that it's false, but it's just that it's a thing that people commonly think about as a story that we're not sure if it's true or not. So we're really going to break this down, and there's always parts of truth and parts that are not true. So in the case that the New Age is demonic, I guess we have to really break down what demonic is. So demonic, to me, is a structure of consciousness, is a quality of consciousness. Okay, so we think angelic consciousness has the qualities of divine love and joy and ecstatic creation and unity and all those beautiful vibrations of angels that we associate with. This is a fabric or a texture of consciousness that we experience, right? So then we can figure out the qualities of demonic consciousness, which is then, separate from source. Fragments of consciousness that are severed from source. And what happens when consciousness severs from source is that it begins to die, it begins to decay, and as it degrades and rots, it kind of loses its original perfect qualities, and it begins to take on these other qualities like rage and hatred and violence. And so I would say that demonic and satanic are very closely related, but they're not the same. Because I would say that demonic is the fabric of that consciousness, and satanic is more like the operating system. And so this is the so once the consciousness has fallen, it's got to have an energy source, right? So then it's created these patterns where it starts to receive energy in a reversal kind of way. And so the patterns that you see in satanic consciousness would be then anti-life, anti-God, anti-creation. Okay? So this is something that is very prevalent. I know that these words are kind of scary, but actually when you look around in our world today, we really have a very satanic society. And that's not to scare you, right? But let's just say that the feelings of divine love and co-creativity and unity, this is actually what's natural to humans, because humans are these emanations of source, of God, of divinity. And so the feeling of angelic consciousness is our original home state. This is our source, right? This is our original state of being. And so when we look around, how could a planet full of humans that are divine and angelic, how could a planet full of angelic humans create the society that we have today, in which most people are suffering and kids are being kidnapped and, you know, people's inner children are definitely being abused? And so it makes very little sense, right? And so I would say that this force, this satanic force that hates divinity, it hates God, it really just wants to control, and it wants to be God itself. And so this force has been trying to take over creation for a very long time, right? This isn't something that we're just seeing now. In fact, the idea of starseeds and the idea of light workers isn't even new. I mean, think about people like Jesus. They were here thousands of years ago, and they were pretty much doing what we're doing now, of teaching and reconnecting people to our true nature. And, you know, if you look back in the ancient text, we've been talking about the archons and these negative ETs for a very long time, and that's because this project of universal completion, it's been happening for a while, and we've all incarnated over many lifetimes in pursuit and in commitment and in devotion to this mission. And so I promise that this rant is leading to somewhere. Sometimes when I get asked a question, I have to explain like 5 different things before I can get to the answer. So there has been an age-old war on divinity, seen in the crucifixion of Jesus, in the killing of the Cathars, the Aboriginal people. In fact, in China, they're still murdering people that are of spiritual nature, who practice particular kinds of qigong that connect them to source. And so all over the world, this extinction of true original sacred teachings has been a force that's been ravaging through the earth for thousands of years. This war that we see on divinity, it's nothing new, right? And so, yeah, this war on sacredness, this war on divinity, this war on that pure place inside of us that carries the true understanding and our deep, true connection to God, to source, to the sacred. So when we're engaging with the new age, then, we can tune in to the teachings and to the offerings and to the things that are in this community and see how much of it is truly connecting us to this profound holiness inside of us. It's a feeling, right? It's this feeling where you feel the love for all of creation. You feel the love that you have for all of life, and you feel all of life loving you back. And there's a very profound, resonant, holographic space that living field exists in. And then it's very easy to see that, you know, a lot of channelings and new age ideas, they actually don't carry that deep resonance of holiness and love that makes us cry, that moves our soul in a way that it's almost like, you know, the most beautiful music that meets our soul and just dissolves and melts our heart, right? So that is a vibration of the original temple and the original teachings, that it's not the backbone of the new age community, okay? So the reason for this, I believe, is that, you know, there are many infiltrated beings that don't even know that they're channeling, you know, CIA frequencies, or just beings that know that they have a mission, but they haven't really excavated to that core place inside of them where they're moved by the pure, profound holiness inside. And if you want to get into it, there's a great video on my channel that, if you haven't seen, it's called The Real Galactics, CIA Counterfeits, and Discernment in the New Age, where I spend basically an hour and a half kind of breaking down the different infiltrations in the New Age. And so, who is the New Age demonic? I would say that most of the New Age society, if it is not actually resonating with this deep, profound, and it's not being moved by that true holiness inside, then what is the motivation? And then if the motivation, even if the person is not aware, is to deceive true light workers from connecting to that holiness inside, then I would say that yes, it's demonic because, obviously it is operating in anti-life, anti-God, because God's intention was to send these brilliant, beautiful angels to the earth to embody deep levels of profound holiness. And if there are glass ceilings or distortions in the teachings that are giving you, interesting information and things that sound good and fluffy and love and light, but are not actually activating that profoundness inside of your heart and that love and devotion for all of creation, then it's really kind of, deceptive or not taking you to the source of yourself. And in that case, on the deepest level, it would be anti-God, because blocking light workers on their path is quite a commitment, and it's a very bad thing. It's just not a great thing to do karmically, even if you're not aware of it. Okay, so then is the New Age demonic? I think that the golden age that's coming, this new age in time, this new period of time where there is heaven, all of that is 100% true. And we are the emanations of God's intention to make that happen, right? So if God is willing, if divine will is intending for heaven on earth, and then from that divine will was birthed you, then your embodiment and your commitment to that path every single day is literally the fulfillment of divine will upon this planet. And so then this leads us to the next New Age myth here, which is I am an infinite being and so doesn't affect me. And primarily I'm receiving this question about, the jab, but I've also received this question about GMOs and poisons and all of these things. They're like, well, I'm an infinite, quantum being, and I can just reprogram things, and I can still, eat GMOs and interact with poison, and even do drugs and drink alcohol, and I can still ascend. And this is a very interesting one, because on a certain level is true. And this is how the New Age deceives, is like they're taking things that are roughly true on some level that resonates with us, right? Because that divine original angelic template inside of you recognizes that as being true. But in order for us to actually be embodied in our DNA template, to actually have that be the true thing in physical reality, it's kind of, one example I like to give is, you've heard these stories about these masters in India, and they would take 1,000 tabs of acid and nothing would happen to them, right? Or they would, hurt, they would get hurt and they would be bleeding, and then they would just instantaneously heal themselves. Now, those beings have devoted their whole entire life to the mastery and the ascension of their DNA. And so they have reached a point in the activated DNA and in their embodiment for those things to be true, because they have fulfilled their potential. For most of us that were born in the false matrix, you probably can't do that. You probably eat 1,000 tabs of acid and can't just say, oh, I'm an infinite being, and, believe that it doesn't affect you, because this is what I would call a New Age delusion, right? We believe that we're fed these lies in the New Age society, that as long as we are love and light and we believe in the new earth, it's the same thing, that it's just going to happen, right? And it's like on some level that's true. Just like on some level, if your DNA was fully activated, certain things would not affect you. And when you come back to Earth and you really think about it, if you just, accidentally scrape and cut your arm, the knife is a physical thing and your body is a physical thing. And because most of your consciousness is still running a fallen physical matrix hologram, those things will affect you. Even if this little part of your mind wants to believe and wants to remember that you are an infinite being. So is it possible for us to negate negative effects of physical realities? Absolutely. Is it going to happen if you don't put any effort into it? Absolutely not. Right? There's a lot of magical powers. I mean, those gurus and masters in India, they definitely didn't just wake up one day and was like, oh yeah, I remember I'm an infinite being. Like they, you don't know how things operate inside of their hologram, inside of their consciousness, right? Things need to be activated. You need to be initiated into these practices for your potential to come online. And so that's the second myth. Yes, you are an infinite being. And in order to truly be an infinite, eternal being, you need to actually work to activate your DNA, because our human DNA has been severely degraded in order to enslave human consciousness on this planet for a very long time. And so in order to reverse that, we are really here to explore the frontiers of what is possible and what was originally intended as our inheritance, as what we were meant to have and what we're meant to experience on this planet as human beings. Except, that exploration is a deliberate, active act of devotion. And it doesn't just happen to you one day and you wake up and you're like, oh, I'm all of a sudden an ascended master. No ascended master. That didn't happen to any of them. Okay. They all wanted it. They all wanted it so bad. And what is the thing they want? They want to experience themselves in the highest potential that we can be, meaning as close to God as we can be, right? And this is not some egoic drive like the fallen angels that are like, we want to be God or whatever. It's like just this desire to know the divine, right? Not only the desire to know it, but touch it and breathe it and experience it in our body. And then we begin to enter the realms of the mysteries. And we can be touched by that experience sometimes, in our life, in synchronicity, and in the ayahuasca, whatever drug-induced experiences. But in order to kind of enter that world and live that and become a temple once again, it is a deliberate process. Right? And that's exciting. I feel like the new age wants to perpetuate this idea that, oh, just hang on and wait. The aliens are going to come and they'll do everything and everything's taken care of. And then we're just sitting around. And what's the fun in that? Like, I'm here to experience mastery and I'm here to experience the potential of myself, the highest potential of myself. That's the stuff that lights me up, right? And so then that leads me into the next new age myth, which I don't even know if these are really myths. These are just kind of what, the sentences that I was given through this poll that I did. But this one says, ascended masters are a psyop because it seems hierarchical. And so the way that this is true is that most ascended masters that you see in the new age community are not ascended masters at all. Okay? They're these made up, sometimes they're modeled after real ascended masters, which is what it makes it so offensive. Right? The reason, okay, here's the thing. I have never connected with, beings that are higher than me, because that does seem hierarchical, because no higher being actually approaches you being like, I'm better than you, you better worship me. That's like an archonic fabric of consciousness. But when we think about it, what is an expert? An expert is someone that has devoted their time and their effort and their love to the perfection and the awareness and the knowledge of something. And so there are very many masters in our society that have greatly improved everybody's lives by devoting their lives to something, like Einstein, right? Who else? Nikola Tesla. I don't know. Who else?
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk, even, right? People that are constantly motivated by life. They're inspired to make life better. And then they literally follow that inspiration and they commit and devote their blood, sweat, and tears to the one thing that they want to make better for the world. And we have respect for these people. It's not like we worship them. We're not giving them our soul and we're not bowing down like, oh, you're such a great being. But we have respect for them because we honor, because we understand the amount of devotion and love those beings have given for the betterment of all of creation. And so to me, The idea of ascended masters has been super watered down and made into this plastic toy kind of thing, because people think it's kind of like angels, right? People think that ascended masters and angels are these beings that just stand in the corner and smile at you, and they're like, oh yeah, I love you, that's really great. And it's like they're almost like one-dimensional, right? But what are actually ascended mastery? I believe that so many of us that are light workers and star beings, we are here on a path of ascended mastery. What is that path? It's a path of devotion to this union with creation that leads us to live a life of complete service to the united creation. And on that path, we cultivate true soul level virtues, right? And understanding and sciences. This is a level of maturity that is deep and human. And we see it in, these moments in time when humans become heroes, right? When you're on the battlefield and you could have died, but you go and save your friend. Or you're in school and I don't know. But just these moments that inspire you to help others. And all of us, I think all starseeds, that have this innate desire to help humanity. Right? We're here to help people. And so true ascended masters are beings that have perfected certain qualities of themselves. Things like courage, things like devotion, things like committing and devoting to the highest resolves and the highest vibrations of what life is and what consciousness can be in the universe. And in our current world, this is a perfect setup for ascended master training, because to commit to the embodiment of source and divinity means that you will have to embody courage. It means that you will have to overcome your fears of persecution and being seen as a holy person, right? And these are things that deserve our respect. So when I see a person that I recognize that truly has devoted their life to a higher calling and to the betterment of themselves for all of creation, I really respect that person. I've seen, I have some personal heroes like Sandra Walter and my friend Marguerite. These are people that beyond their physical comfort, beyond what other people say is normal, beyond if society might think they're crazy, beyond all of those things, chose to follow their truth for the love of all of creation. And this is something profound that of all things I have respect for. Right? And so ascended masters are beings that have chosen that in the past, that have evolved their soul to a point where they become more monadic geometries of consciousness that now can be our guide. And so one of such people that I personally work with is Babaji. And of course, then, Kuan Yin, and these people that have really gone through initiation and have proven through their physical life of their devotion that deserves and is worthy of our respect. And so I think that, the fact that we are afraid of these terms, ascended mastery, or we're afraid of gurus, is a perfect example of how this war on divinity has, succeeded and is rearing its face in all these places, because the true temples were destroyed and is replaced with fake ones. And, I would say that fake gurus are rampant in the world, right? Because because we have completely disconnected society from holiness, we can't tell what is not holy. We don't have a comparison. We don't have a reference point for what that deep feeling of holiness actually feels like in our body. And I think that's why the masters now bring these in through the songs, because sound and the songs are a frequency, and that's why it makes you guys cry, right? Because it's touching a place and it's literally bringing through the feeling of divinity, the feeling of holiness. And then we begin to remember just how far away we've slid away from that and how devastating it is that this war on divinity has basically wiped it out. And it was a very deliberate effort. It didn't happen by accident. Humanity didn't just disconnect and forget our divinity by accident, right? It was like, for a long time, witches, Cathars, these people were literally genocided and killed specifically to wipe out the temple connection, these bridges between divinity and earth and humanity. And so, I think that this is very profound because it speaks to the foundation of Starseed mission, the Starseed mission, where it's really quite simple when you bring it back to the core of it, which is that we are here to restore the fabric of creation down into 3D. And what is the fabric of creation? It's divine love, is unity, is true unity, is co-creativity, right? It's this exuberant delight and this love we have for life and beauty. And all of those vibrations that have been hijacked and attacked and literally killed and deleted from this world, we are these seeds of these energies that God has placed on this world to reconnect the world to those original vibrations of holiness and sacredness that permeates all of life and all of creation. Okay. And to be honest, it's actually really interesting for me to be making these videos because I'm just trying out new things. I mean, the people that are listening to these videos, I guarantee you, I'm never going to water down these transmissions. I just literally can't. It hurts my body to do it, so I literally won't, right? But the thing is that, sometimes I find that the frequency medicine that we really need, we don't know that we need it until we get it. And so those of you that are here all the time, you already know that this is what you're going to get. And that's why I have this title, like busting 5 New Age myths. I'm really trying to get people that think they want to watch videos like that to realize that what we really need is temple. What we really need is this remembrance. And of course, this means moving into the places inside of our body that are hurting. The reason why it's so easy to mind control light workers is because obviously we have immense pain at the amount of devastation and torture that life has experienced on this planet. As an angelic being, as a starseed, it's very hurtful and torturous for you to be fully awake and lucid to what has happened on this planet, because it literally hurts you to the core of your being. And that's why, for the most part, most light workers would rather cling on to these superficial false light beliefs because it feels better superficially, right? But without actually transversing, is that a word? Without journeying into the depth of our pain, which is really, why do we feel that pain? We feel that pain because we love creation so much. We love the innocence of new life so much. In the form of these children, in the form of animals, in the form of the plants, and this planet that's just being ravaged by greed. We love that life so much that it hurts to watch it be tortured, be killed. Especially in those times when we watched our temples, our love for God, our love for creation just destroyed in front of us. But without feeling this pain, we can't access that love. The source of this pain is a response because of that love that we have inside of our being. And that love that we have inside of our being for all of creation is the source of our power, is the source of our devotion, is the source of truly waking up and truly participating on this mission. And while I don't think that there's a war, and in some ways we already won, why is it that we're not really seeing that transpire out in the 3D? It's because it has to come fully all the way through our body. How does it make you feel when I say you are here to shine your light as a holy person, as an emanation of what Source is truly meant to be in a human body? And that's when we feel the fear, we feel the pain. And it's okay because we're here together and we're in a new timeline. And at the core of our being, we know that we are eternal. And at the end of the day, I would rather be killed than betray myself, than to act in fear and be a coward and not shine my light. And this love is here for us. Together we are strong. And the galactics and the angelics, they think that we're like the heroes of creation. You know, this is why, you know, when they say our ascended masters hierarchical, or, you know, there's no higher dimensional being that operates in connection with Source that thinks that they're above human angels. And I said this in my story recently that, you know, when I tune in upstairs, they think I'm the shit because they're like, you're down there. Like, you know, when I made this connection, this metaphor to being in a police force or the military, you know, to be sent out on a high level mission, you have to be the most highly trained soldier or the most highly trained agent, right? Because you're interfacing with dynamic situations and you have to be able to remember your mastery inside the dynamic situation of Earth. And so it's only the highest beings of mastery that were actually sent to Earth, and our team, they're a supportive team. And really, we're learning to access their support because they can help us. They can hold the field so we can heal. They can hold the field so we can raise our vibration. But just recognize that there is no true ascended being that, you know, truly feels like they're above you in any way. Because they recognize just how heroic it is that we are on this path, on this journey of remembering our sacredness, of embodying our true spirituality against all odds, against this age-old war on divinity that has ravaged across the planet and done a really good job at it for thousands of years, and yet you're still here. All of you still showed up here now, and you didn't show up here just to eat, you know, organic seaweed snacks and watch Gaia TV. Okay? It's been thousands of years. We got killed 1 billion times, and we just didn't come back here again to sit around. And so together we are strong, and this is the field, this transmission of mastery, this energy that we're holding. And we believe that, you know, this is the source of how we're actually going to accomplish our mission, is to actually fully embody our original divine template, because we become the part of the 3D reality that does, and then that flowers outwards into all of the 3D reality. Okay, the fifth here. Wait, actually I lost track because I stopped doing them in order. But anyway. This next one is going into painful things is not necessary. Healing will happen automatically when we raise our frequency. This is a hysterical one to me. And I believe that this came from channelings with Abraham and Esther Hicks. Now, I used to listen to Esther Hicks when I was first waking up, and I really appreciated the expansive, loving field that gets created in her space. You know, you can kind of feel this wisdom and the love that they had for humanity. And then in recent times, I don't remember exactly when this was, but like maybe 6 months, a year ago, I accidentally came across one of her videos, and I happened to just click to the point where she basically promotes the vaccine. And I tuned into her channel and realized that it was no longer the same expansive, beautiful field that was being held. And so This sentence, going into painful things is not necessary. Healing will happen automatically when we raise our frequency, is a classic thing that somebody will say if their human self is actually not integrated and they're just saying whatever they're channeling, which is why I think that at this point in time, channeling is quickly becoming or is evolving, right? I would say that if you guys watch my previous videos, I wouldn't call what we do channeling at all. I call it being an oracle because that denotes that it's in a sacred setting, that it's in a ceremonial setting. Because only when you have gained these shamanic skills of space holding can you actually differentiate and identify who you're communicating and what you, as a space holder, is allowing or not allowing into the space. And for me personally, that is, true mastery, divine love, sacredness and holiness and original temple teachings. These are the only things that I will receive teaching on. And, my guides are these avatar babies that are going to be incarnating onto the planet shortly. And we'll talk about that in later videos. But let's go back to talking. Going into painful things is not necessary because healing will happen automatically when we raise our vibration. Now, I want to pose the question, how do we raise our vibration? How do we raise our frequency? Okay. If you say is by eating organic food or drinking really good water, I'm going to say, yeah, that's great. That's part of it. But what is actually the dense thing that we're trying to raise? It's our ancestral body. It's our emotional body. It's our past life wounding, right? That's actually the stuff that's keeping our stents. Our soul doesn't need to raise its vibration. Our higher self doesn't need to raise its vibration. It's actually just the dense things in our field that, the parts of us that are in pain, the parts of us that are hurting, that actually needs for us to love them back into wholeness to raise the vibration of our whole system. So this sentence itself is actually contradictory because, how do you raise your frequency really if you're not looking at the things that are holding your frequency down? And I'm not saying that you should torture yourself by just going to the painful things. What the masters always teach us is bringing in the presence of divine love, bringing in the presence of this awesome cosmic love that we have for ourselves and the preciousness of our being, and filling ourselves up with the worthiness of that, and then taking that into the pain so that we have the love to bring those pieces back into wholeness. Faye says that she promotes law of attraction for personal gain, borderline black magic. That is true. Absolutely. Yep, and that's why, true ascended beings like my ascended master guides, they actually teach me how to master my energy field to create an alignment with source, because we do need people that are good at creating, right? We need to be creating, a lot of resources to be able to do what we came here to do on this planet. We want to have money to create healing centers for the rescued children. We want to create better infrastructure. We want to create cleaner technologies. All of these things require energy. And what is the current common form of energy is money. We need energy. We need money to do what we want to do. And yet, in order to actually be in alignment with our truth, we also need to create in a way that is actually true to creation and true to our original template. So not borderline black magic. This is why we teach creation magic. Creation magic is the absolute aligning with your soul's truth of the original template of divine creation. And this is a tough process when you're awakening from an enslaved human being. But this is really the stuff that we teach people in our school, and it's a 3 to 5 year process. This is a process that I've had to go through, because these avatar babies, they're very bossy. They're determined to create this new earth. They're so excited to come in, and they want us to do our part and to raise our bar of what we accept as being the expectations for ourselves, basically. Okay, and the last thing here is about the moon matrix. It says what the moon was placed here to control us. Now, I can't really tell you about the source of the moon or where the moon came from. I can only tell you about the metaphysical aspects of what the moon matrix is. And for me, it's again very consciousness based because that's my specialty. Physical galactic history is not my specialty. I'm kind of like the holographic magic teacher of the school. And maybe there's somebody else that is the Akashic Records person. So I can't tell you where exactly the moon came from, but I will tell you that there absolutely is something called reversal moon magic, right? And there's very many limbs of this, one of them being, the subconscious, right? What is the subconscious? Why is 90% of our consciousness not conscious? I call that mind control. When you convince a whole society of people that 90% of themselves is in amnesia and they don't know about it, and you say that that's psychology, that is part of this moon matrix of forcing people to be in amnesia, right? Another program of this is, the feminine is the moon and the masculine is the sun. And this is, a classic trait of the patriarchy of saying, women, you only get your life force from men, just like how you were created from a rib, which is absolute absurdity because there's no one person on this whole planet that came out of a man. In fact, I think every single one of the people came out, if not of the vagina, at least came out of the womb, right? So it seems to me that life actually sources from women. So women are actually solar in a lot of ways, right? So this is another part of the moon deception. And I have tracked, mind control frequencies emanating from the moon a lot. There are definitely mind control technologies that are radiating signals onto the planet that are controlling people's minds. So, yeah, and TJ, thank you for bringing the idea of grandmother moon, because there is actually a archetype of the moon that is higher dimensional, and you might remember this from your home planets, okay? And our moon has a higher dimensional component that's overlaid, so it's like in one dimension of perception in the false matrix, you'll find these control systems. And when you begin to evolve and remember your multidimensionality, and especially remember the moons that we have back in our home planets, we begin to connect with the higher archetypal energies of the moon as well. So in that case, the soft, nurturing light in the dark, very comforting. These energies are also energies that we can access when we connect into the higher dimensionalities. Okay. And so Faith, that's very interesting. She says the feminine is source energy and male is creator energy. And I think that, these two are very inseparable when we're talking about our creator process. And I think that, women and men obviously both carry these energies, and it's important for them to be in hierogamic union when we begin to learn creation magic. And there is a video on my YouTube channel called Creation Sexuality that is really great, that dives into this topic. Okay. And so at this moment now, I don't follow the Gregorian calendar or really the moon calendar at all, because I would rather kind of have a clear field and perceive stellar energies and see for myself when the Stargate openings are. Because for the most part, 9 times out of 10, when people in the New Age or when people in the astrology world are like, oh yeah, this is, or even just like the calendar holidays, right? Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween. I have chosen to celebrate my own stellar connections, and the Pleiades gateway is actually one of these gateways that I have discovered that I really celebrate deeply as a Christmas, as a homecoming, because cosmic stellar energy is actually entering into the world. And if you just look at the dates, they're just regular old dates, you might miss it. But that's the whole point, is that, you know, in the false matrix, the whole point is to twist everything so that we're not actually connecting to the true original source energies. And yep, I feel complete with that segment of our talk today. You guys can probably feel that I'm just going through a vibrational shift. And it's like this new level of our mission is coming online, and I'm really getting ready to support you guys. I'm getting ready to hold space and to support all of you in coming into the next level of your starseed activation. So Captain Switch says, please tell us why from ancient times the moon is used to charge crystals and quartz. I personally haven't seen that. And also, I feel like, you know, these technologies of mind control, like, they're modern. You know, like, it's only been like a few hundred years that those ones have been there, like these specific ones, this AI, this current AI transhumanism timeline thing. And so I think for the most part, ancient people actually worked with the mechanics of cosmic energy with their bodies more than anything. And that's really where my expertise is in. So I definitely don't know everything. I only know how our creational mechanisms and how energies flow through ley lines and our bodies. And I think that that's really important stuff we need to know if we want to create a new world, because it's all science. And so on that note, let's pull back a clearing. It's just because I'm bored of talking and I actually just want to do some singing, so I actually have no idea what's gonna happen. I love you guys. Come to the Pleiades Gateway if you want to experience, you know, what the school is gonna be like. Just being in the field with aliveness and in a field with these true masters of creation, true source, true star beings that have divine love as the fabric of their being. You don't want to miss this event because it's just going to be beautiful. And the link is in the description. And on that note, I love you guys so much. And I will see you guys next week. I guess you probably want to stay for the singing part. So I can't say goodbye yet. I don't know. Oh, I love you. I love you guys. I love you guys so much, and just want to say that we're just literally getting started. The party's just getting started, and y'all are early to the party because probably because your DNA template didn't let you fall asleep that much, so that's good. And there are just so many profound levels to this mystery school of being an angel, being an emanation of source, and being an empowered light worker. You know, I like to break things down scientifically in the mechanics of our light body anatomy. And I know that this is my role at this time is to support all of our Starseed angel family beings all over the world. And I also just want to thank you so much for trusting me. I, for one, know how hard it is to trust when we've just been deceived on so many levels. You know, and I do not take this responsibility of being a source of information and knowledge for granted ever. You know, it hangs in the top corner of my inner being to remind me how important it is for me to do my work and to stay in alignment and be a true pillar at this time. And so I just want to thank you for trusting me and for trusting yourself and recognizing the resonance of holiness. And we are here to do something so incredible together. And I can't wait until we are all living in the absolute remembrance of that. Every second, every day, together, in joy, ecstatic creativity. And so I know that the school is just so far away, and galactics are so excited. You know, come sample what it feels like to be in the mothership. We can't describe how magical it is. If you are waiting to get your ticket to the Pleiades Gateway, just definitely show up because you are worthy of these experiences. You know, that's one of the testimonials I got. Somebody was like, it was wild to recognize that I am worthy of existing in a field of holiness all the time, because we're literally, you know, spending 3 days in a ceremonial field with this vibration is permeating, and it made people realize that they can live in this frequency field all the time, and this is a path into our embodiment. And so the galactics are just wrapping our angelic wings around this field, around all of us, sharing a team hug. And we will see you next week. And also, I'm posting daily on Instagram. So if you want to just get your daily motivational talk about how cool you are, come hang out with me at earthstar.sanctuary on Instagram. Okay. All right, family. I love you guys so much. I woke up this morning feeling like, oh my God, it's Saturday. It's my favorite day of the week. And it's because I get to hang out with you guys. And I love you so much. Bye for now.